conversation like this. 2 questions, by the way. As a young person, do you know when you're going to retire? Is that plan clear? Or you're saying that by the age of this and this, I'll be out? That's the first question, which then begs me to ask the second question. What is your retirement plan? All right? Number 2, if indeed you have a retirement plan, this retirement vehicles that indeed you are in right now, are they the best? And if indeed you're in one, why did you get in? If you can answer those 2 questions, then us talking about how it's the 2nd of June and we're about to end the year should not surprise you, because you're within plan and you are very comfortable. So on this Friday, I want us to take a bit of knowledge from experts in the field who understand why you as a young person should be actively thinking of your retirement. And they're going to tell us exactly how to do that. At this point, take out your pens and papers, because this morning we're going to get into a learning session right here on the Morning Adrift this Friday, because I want to introduce to the studio Kenya Orient Life Assurance Limited Agency Manager, Ann-Florence Makanga, who's essentially going to tell you exactly why it's important then for you as a young person to start thinking about retirement. Sorry, Ann, how are you doing? Yeah, thank you very much for coming by. By the way, I was asking Vera. By the way, Vera is very my good friend. I'll be introducing her one of these fine days to our conversations. Why is it that this is the very first time you're coming to Look Up TV? 2 options. It's either you don't like us or you just like... Anyway, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
All right. I want to start like this. Even before we know who Kenya Orient is, before we get there, in your definition, who's a young person? Because sometimes when we say why young people need to think about their retirement, at what age does a young person need to start thinking about their retirement?
Yes, thank you for that question, and thank you for having me here. I am Ann-Florence Makanga, and I think I need to introduce myself,
Yes,
so that we have a good interaction.
that's it.
And I am married to one Bishop Francis Jeronge, Christ Assembly's Church.
Yes.
And I thank God for having me here to interact and to talk to young people.
That's it.
And I would say we are young as long as we feel young.
Oh, that's the definition of young.
I would say that. But again,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
say from age 18 to
That's it.
35, that's a very young person.
That's it.
And that is when the life is at peak.
That's it.
And that is when you need to make financial decisions. You need to understand your finances and do exactly what you need to do for your future.
That's it.
And I will put this across, even as you start.
Yes.
That the first day you start working or you start earning is your first day towards retirement.
Oh, that's what it means now.
Yes.
Isn't it because you've started your journey to retirement, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first day you start working, start earning, is your first day towards retirement.
That's it.
And you should put in consideration the many vehicles that we have that can lead you to retire and retire peacefully.
That's it.
And especially when you talk about finances, you need to manage your finances.
Yes.
Yes.
Retirement is essentially finances, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Just before we get into those vehicles, and I asked you, today we're going to teach the young people watching us this morning and listening to us this morning, like why you need to pick each investment vehicle, and we'll be looking at exactly what is a Kenya Orient, so that I can actually then look at the options. They'll be giving them that. All right. Now, just before we get there, could you do a proper introduction then of Kenya Orient Life Assurance Limited?
This Kenya Orient Assurance Limited is a life insurance company.
Yes.
Incorporated in 2014 and is registered and licensed to do long-term businesses and superannuations by IRA, that is Insurance Regulatory Authority, and we've been doing that for about 9 years now. And we have a wide range of products. Again, as I introduced Kenya Orient, I would say we are a group of many companies. We are sister companies to Family Bank, to Daycare, to Orient Asset Managers, among others.
Yes.
And so we belong to a big group.
That's it.
Family group.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Good. Now that we have the complete picture of who you're speaking to and what Kenya Orient is, let's begin on creating a distinction. Number one, between the products that essentially you offered Kenya Orient, number one, which is essentially insurance, savings, and investment. As a young person, let me start like that. Are you saying, well, get all these products at a go, or there is a way that you're supposed to approach getting this product? Why should I think about insurance as a young person?
Is the first thing is to understand and to know
Yeah.
what is saving, what is insurance, and what is investment.
That's it.
And I would say, when you talk about savings, is the money you set aside for future use. And you could set money aside maybe for education. You could set money aside to buy an asset. You could set money aside even to invest in future. And therefore, investment is that money that you have set aside. You now put it into growth. And that's when when we say you're investing, when you say you're investing,
Yes.
we are saying you're growing your wealth, you're growing your money.
Yes.
And this can be into shares, into real estate,
Yes.
and many other vehicles that you can do.
Yes.
When we talk about insurance, we are actually talking about protection.
Protection.
And you're being protected from the financial losses that you can go through.
That's it.
And I'm saying there are so many uncertainties. And when there are these uncertainties, you need to know that as much as you're growing, you need to be protected
That's it.
against financial losses. And these are the lists, there are some lists that come and really cost you financially. And therefore, as a young person, as much as you save, as much as you invest, you need to take into account the insurance part of it.
That's it.
Yes. And when we talk about insurance, we're also talking about you pay some premiums such that in case of a loss, this could be monthly premiums, quarterly, half-yearly, or even annual premiums. In case of a loss, you have already transferred the risk
Yes.
to the insurance company.
That's
and
it.
therefore, you live free. Yes.
Pretty much. I've got this direct question from you, by the way, and this is one question that I got from one, and I'm going to read it directly. Once we floated your poster yesterday, there's questions that are coming in. It's a good thing that we're still on this part for investments, so I'm just going to pick it the way it came in. Number one, it's asking, I've just started my job. By the way, this is James from Nyeri. I've just started my job. I earn 35 shillings. That's 1,000 shillings. That is net. And I'm thinking about starting to invest for my retirement. Ask her, where would I start?
Thank you so much that James understands
Yes.
his finances and he understands the need of saving. Like I said before, that your first day, when you start working, is your first day towards retirement.
Mazel.
So this one person needs to know that he already understands that his net is 35,000. So he needs to set an amount, could be 10% of what of that money, and put it into a saving in insurance.
Yes.
Or take a life product.
Mazel.
Or also do a pension plan.
That's it.
Because now I need to know, this net is talking about, is he already in a pension plan? And a pension plan
Yes.
could be either in a group scheme where he's working, or he has already started his own. If he has not started his own, he needs to know.
Yes.
He needs to start saving.
And let's educate somebody. By the way, those terms, and I normally say them every time. I mean, you meet guys who are asking you, do you have a plan? Do you have a life product?
Yes.
Do you have this? Could we start? For a young person, and you might think that they know what that product is.
Sure.
What is a pension plan? What is a life assurance product? And why would I go for either?
Okay, pension, let me start by life product.
That's it.
A life product, when we talk about life insurance, we have different life products. These are different vehicles
Yes.
or different products that one can take, either to educate their children.
I see that
when
now.
you when
Yep.
you educate your children,
Yes.
you need to take an education policy. And I tell parents, and especially young parents, their children are not an emergency. That when they grow and they're in class
Yeah, it's
8,
actually
that's
not
when
an
you
emergency, it's already a
still
plan, isn't it?
Yeah, you still you're thinking that your child is an emergency,
It's
and when
not.
the child is
Yeah.
going to Form 1, that's when you're running to the banks, to the circles, to different
yeah,
places to borrow money.
to ask them,
And
where can I
yet-
get school
And
fee?
yet you had your child
Yeah.
for 15 years.
Yes.
So when we are talking about this vehicle, the education plan, we are talking about a plan or taking a product
Yes.
that can help you save monthly, half-yearly, or even yearly.
Awesome.
And you put that money aside, that when that child is going to Form 1, you already have a product. You already have the money. Like now, Kenya Orient has a very beautiful product, an education policy, that has even a birthday cashback after the first 12 months. Thereafter, you enjoy the birthday cashback. So you already planned. You already have a plan.
Yes.
That every birthday, you don't have to go back to your pocket. The insurance, the Kenya Orient pays for that education, for that birthday. And again, we also have short-term products for young people, like 5 years. 5 years is indeed very short.
Yeah.
And as you save for these 5 years, we also give you Christmas cashback after the first anniversary.
After the first anniversary
Yes.
of saving, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are premiums that you will pay over monthly. When I talk about premiums, these are specific amounts that you put in over a period of time.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So are you saying that should a young person walk into your office today at Kenya Orient and ask you, these are the products that we have and I want to start saving for my future, you'll be asking them about what their plan is. Is that what it is?
Yes, we need to know their goals. For example, I tell people, when you start working, probably you're working from 25 years.
Yes.
You need to create some milestones.
That's it.
That in the next 5 years, this is what I need to do. You have a clear goal. Your financial goal.
That's it.
That I would need to have like 10, let's say maybe 1 million shillings, maybe to buy a car, maybe to go back to school, or whatever goal you have.
That's it.
Then we will help you save.
You know,
And
walk
by
the
that,
journey.
Yeah, we will walk you the journey.
Yes.
And by that's when we are able to know, when you have that goal, we are able to know how long is your goal. Because again, if your goal is 1 year, we'll tell you not to take an insurance.
That's it.
You go to Chama, you can go to the bank, you can go to the circle. But when you come into us, probably you have those long-term goals. A goal of 5 years can fit in us. A goal of 8 years, 7 years, 10 years, to 30 years, it can fit with us.
Yes.
And again, we are also talking to these young persons. They need to know that they are growing. They keep, when we were young, we were thinking that we will still be young. I was young
Yeah.
the other day.
You're still young?
Yes, because I feel young.
Yes, yes.
So what I would say is that time flies. And before you know it, you're 40, you're 50. What did you do with 15 years? What milestone did you
By
have?
the way, that's a very good question, isn't it?
Yeah, what did you do?
Because people think they're young at 25, 20s when
You're
they've started
still hanging
working,
out?
isn't it?
And you're 38.
That's it.
You don't have any financial plan. You don't have maybe even you're not married. And you know, when we talk about finances, we talk about so many things,
As
by
a-
the way.
as a-
When we tell you that we'll take you through financial management training,
Yes.
we take you through so many things.
That was actually my next question as
Yes.
well. Essentially, since we're talking about savings, investments, and insurance, somebody wants this question that what I've seen majority of the companies outside there do is just tell me that I've got this product. But majority of the people who are investing in this product have not been trained to even understand the product. Is that something that you do at Kenya Orient? These young people who approach you for investments and savings, how far do you go in training them to understand what will be bespoke for them?
Personally, or even most of our Kenya Orient, because I'm an agency manager, I have
Yes.
a team. I read teams.
Yes.
I have about 5 managers and so many other agents.
Yes.
What we train them not just to sell the product, the Kenya Orient product. They need to take you through financial literacy. Because if I come and start selling you an education policy and you don't have a child, I'll be wasting.
That's
But
it.
I will be wasting you.
Yeah.
I'll also be wasting a lot of my energy.
That's
but
it.
when I come to you and I do fact finding, I get to know who you are, what are your financial goals, and what are you doing out there. Maybe even some people have maybe one product or two products, or they're investing somewhere else. Then from there, we're able to advise you. Then we tell you, according to your age, this is what you need to take.
That's it.
Because again, if you are 20, 25 years, and you have a child, and you have not taken an education policy, I can't come tell you to take an investment program. I will tell you first, take care of this child. Because again, remember, when you're taking a life insurance, especially an education policy, we have a life insurance for,
Yes.
for the parent.
Yes.
Then in case of any disability or death, we take up the responsibility of paying the school fees when this child is going to Form 1.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's something that a young person needs to start thinking about right now, because that's the future.
Sure, that is the future.
That's it.
And actually, if they believe that their future is great, they need to put in place
Yes.
some of these things.
Pretty much. All right. I'm just going to pick the questions since we're on this particular one. I want us to talk to them directly. Somebody will send this particular question directly to my phone. Jane. All right. Jane is saying, good. I want to start investing. Fine. What is the least amount contributable to any product that you have at Kenya Orient?
Okay. I might not talk about the minimum
Yes.
that we have with Kenya Orient.
Yes.
Because again, when I talk about when you talk about investing, you invest depending with your potential.
Does it?
Because I'll be telling maybe that person you need to put in 3,000, but her potential or her pay slip, again, remember we are talking about, when we talking about investing, they need to know this. Number one, this is the tax that they pay. And I don't want to go into details. Maybe 10% or whatever they pay.
Yes.
Number two, they need to know, once they have that money, they need maybe to have a tithe at 10%. Then the other 10%, and which I tell people, they need to pay themselves every other payday. And
No,
this
pay yourself.
Pay yourself. I don't know when the last time you paid yourself.
I need to start. I need to start thinking about that.
And that is what that person is asking.
Yeah.
How much do I need
Does
to
it?
pay?
To
How
contribute,
much are they
yeah.
worth?
Yeah.
According to their pay slip. They're
Does
the
it?
ones who wake up every day to go and work.
Does it?
So they need to, if they are earning 50,000, I would prefer they do 10% of their income and put it aside. And I keep on asking young people, why do you complain when we tell you to put in 10% to investment or to savings,
Yes.
or to insurance, and you don't complain when the government takes 15%?
Actually, nobody complains.
And
It's fine.
Yeah. So they shouldn't complain when they are paying themselves, because this amount they are paying is what will create or build wealth over a long period.
Yes.
Yeah. Ever imagine if Siba today you start putting in. Let me ask you, maybe, how long have you worked?
I've worked for maybe 11 years now.
11 years.
Yeah.
Imagine if you are putting 10% every other month. You'll be having a good amount, a lump sum.
Yeah.
But right now, if I ask you, how much do you have?
I started getting into financial literacy
you
maybe.
start-
By the way,
you
5
start
years.
wondering.
5 years into my earning.
Yes.
That's when I opened up my mind and started getting into it.
Yeah, so that's what
I'm looking at those 5 years, going like, I started a bit earlier. Those 5 years, it would
Yes.
have become something, isn't
But
it?
remember,
Yeah.
when I would say that because now you know, you need to do something
That's it.
about it.
That's it.
Because even if you continue living the way you were living yesterday,
Yeah.
financially, you will not make an impact. And you will soon retire after working 35 years. And you'll be asking, what did I do? You have no build. You don't have a home. You don't have a pension plan. And you go back to the village. And they'll be saying, we have someone around who came from Nairobi after working 35 years. Can you imagine working 35 years and you go back and you have nothing? And that's why we say the first day you start working is the first day towards retirement. Think about that retirement. Those 15 or 20 years you'll be working. How do you want to retire? How do you want to spend the rest of the time? after retirement, after 60 years?
Important question,
And if
isn't
we
it?
had enough time, we would have drawn a financial journey.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, what do you do from 0 to 25 years? You are totally a dependent. Parents dictate on what you do. They dictate on what you eat. But from 25 to 60 years, you are financially independent. You make all financial decisions. And that's why I say, then if you're the one making decisions, before you pay other bills, before you do any other things, pay yourself first. And this
Then the
is where
rest,
the 10%
the 10% comes in, isn't it? And the rest of them follow.
Then you start paying the bills.
That's it.
I see people paying. By the way, you should know this, that you should not spend before saving. You should save and then spend. Not spend, then you save.
Imebaki ngapi?
Imagine, hata imebaki. Imebaki kweli.
Imebaki ngapi ndio tuweke kando? You know, you need,
don't have anything
as
left.
you need to save and then spend.
And actually, when people have something, they start looking for things to do. And especially as women, you pass by, you do any kind of a thing, and especially young people.
Yes.
You got friends, and that's why we are getting our people into debts. Into so many things. And you get people even getting into depression.
Yes. Just, by the way, you have to come back. We have to do 1 hour now. We got to even go back and draw those financial plans for these young people and tell them exactly what you do at Kenya Orient. Just before we run out of time, but we've been told we only have 1 minute 30 seconds for this. That's it. Let me just get this question and you join it together with your next response. Somebody's asking here, how do I start today? That's number 1. How long would it take me again to go through your financial training? That's number 2. And then for me, my question is that there's been a lot of talks about how some people really do not pay, all right? The premiums, the claims and all that. Is that something that you're taking a keen consideration at Kenya Orient?
We are all regulated, by the way, by IRA, the Insurance Regulatory Authority. And let me tell you, any matured policy will be paid. And actually what we do, before your policy matures 1 or 2 months before, you get a discharge voucher. A discharge voucher is something showing you that your policy will be maturing in the next 2-3 months, and this is what you'll be paid.
And this is exactly what you'll be paid. Yes.
So about payment, we cannot really debate because it is your money.
It is your money.
You put it
and you're
over a period of time,
and
we had planned for it.
Yes.
So that we might not really debate
because
it is your money and it is matured.
Have
your money. Get a check.
Pretty much.
Or tell us where we will bank it. We will do a transfer. Yes.
Pretty much. Second question, financial training. How long would it take? Should somebody come in and say, well, train me first on this particular one before I start investing in your product?
It depends again on the questions that we will ask. But within an hour, we'll have taken you through the financial management. And we've talked about the vehicles, the many vehicles we have. We have talked about and we have analyzed your pay slip. We'll have gotten to know your goals and all that. Then from there, we'll tell you, this is what you need to do. And once you're ready, we just help you do our forms.
So it will be my plan.
It is your plan.
As opposed to the Kenya Orient plan for people like me.
It's
my plan, isn't it?
And you have to own it.
That's it.
Just the way you own your bills.
Yes.
You pay rent every day without Rookup asking you. That is the same way you take your investment. It is one part of your bills anyway.
That's it.
I would say.
Pretty much.
Yeah, own it and walk
the journey. Good. Now, for people who want to start today and they want to work with Kenya Orient, how do they get started today? Where are you? Should somebody listen to you today and they want to say, wow, I want to get into investment product or just learn about my financial plan, how would they start today?
We're in Capitol Hill Towers, just here upper hill, second floor. And if they want to maybe to get in touch, they could talk to me. My number is 0720 706 789.
That's it.
I'll be able to talk to them. I'll be able to advise them.
Yes.
And they can also walk in to our office. And we have salespeople that are in-house.
Does it?
And they will
Online as
assist
well?
them.
Kenya Orient?
Yes,
Should I Google for it? The website
Yes,
is going
we
to come
have
up?
Yes, we have it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So go online, just look for Kenya Orient, and hopefully you're listening to that number. You can just rewind her interview just a little bit. If you're watching for us online, then listen to that particular one so you can actually also get started on your savings plan. This is exactly what Anne is saying this morning. It's saying, well, any young person, when you're still feeling energetic, you're still young.
Yes.
Then she's saying, a time is going to come when you not be having that energy.
Sure.
And that's when somebody's going to ask you, okay, now go home and retire. What do you have?
Sure.
That's when the questions begin. And thank you very much for coming. By the way, I'll call you back again within 1 hour. There's just a lot around financial planning for young people need to understand, and those investment vehicles to plan yourself in it. There's some questions that we didn't get to answer for people who just want to take all of the products.
Sure.
Who is that? What pay slip should they be having? Should they approach Kenya Orient? So let's talk to them directly once you come back again. I do promise I will make sure she comes back again for
Thank
that
you.
1 hour conversation. Thank you very much for
Thank
creating
you so
time.
much.
Fantastic. Those are 30 minutes this morning on importance of young people learning about their retirement. It's not for me. Get it right. She's an expert. She's saying you need to learn about that. And you got to start now. 25 to 30, 30 to 40 is just 15 years. You waste it, your life is messed up. Good. At Lookup TV across all your social media platforms, I am at Kianga Simba. The hashtag is Morning Drip. We take a tiny breather. Once we do come back, Guru Kimani and DJ Scott, the Good Vibes DJ, will be then starting officially this Good Feel Friday. Good morning.